guys, so I bought a ND filter for the camera. Hopefully you're gonna be able to see the screen better. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do like a very basic kind of how to start programming Mazatrol. Okay, if you press over here, so usually after you start up the machine, especially on a smooth, your matrix is gonna look a little bit differently, obviously. And so this is how you start smooth. There's a power button right on the bottom over here, and let's say you wanna make a program, and I'm gonna try to simplify it as much as possible. You go to the position button, and it's gonna take you to the main page. Whatever program the machine is gonna be reading at the current time, that's gonna be over here. As you're gonna see, work number. This page is what the machine is gonna be running. This page is whatever program you're on. So that means you can run a program 1, but you can create a program 2, and you can start programming once the program 1 is still running, but you cannot edit program 1 while the machine is running. So they give you ability to make a new program, make changes, but not in time when the machine is running, if it makes sense. Because you obviously cannot make a change to your program because that could cause a problem. But without being technical, make sure that this number matches this number, and I'm gonna talk about this in a second. So we're gonna create a new program. Okay, so actually pick a left soft key. Okay, it's gonna take you to the page over here. Pick the third one from the left, program. Okay, and it'll give you whatever program you're on right now. Let's do work number. It's gonna populate a work number selection. And if it's not something you have in directory, if it's a new program you wanna make, just press this one. Let's create a program number 1. To keep it simple, I'll press 1, enter, and if it's not in the directory, it's gonna take you to a blank page. Your program number is gonna be up in the left corner. Okay, and you have 3 options: work number, ISO programming, that's going to be your G code, and then Mazatrol program. Let's pick Mazatrol. Okay, so now you're going to have a top bar. Okay, and on the top bar, it's going to show you a different selection. All these, like cast iron deck, stainless, aluminums, and all these things, they usually come with some preloaded parameters for depth of cut, feed, speeds. You can call them suggestions. You can also make adjustments these within parameters. I usually go with stainless steel because, like I said, I set my own parameter. See, I'm trying to move. Okay, it's moving. I'm gonna pin it so it doesn't keep floating. Now it's gonna ask me first question. So you press, it says OD max. Okay, right on the bottom, it always tells you maximum outside diameter of workpiece. What this does, let's say if you have 2 inches part, you can call it 2 inches or a little bit bigger. It cannot be smaller. But what this is gonna do, once the part, for example, when your turret, this is a 2-inch part. Your turret is gonna come in, okay, go a little bit higher, and then head home. Versus if you tell the machine you need more clearance because you have a tailstock over here, and you tell the maximum part is 8 inches, it will go 8 inches up in the air and then go home. So for clearance, I always actually add a little bit more. Now, for example, if you do a lot of milling, a lot of everything, and the machine, what it does is, let's say, goes up the part rotates and whatnot, or goes up and then it comes back, it will go up to 8 inches and then come back. So it does a lot of unnecessary travel. In those situations, I keep it pretty close to what the material is, just to shorten these travel times, additional that are not necessary. But in this example, we're gonna go, let's say 8 inches ID, like how small your internal is gonna be 0. The workpiece length, same thing, is like always give more than what you have. Also, if for example, if you have a bar, okay, and you're doing bunch of sections, right? So you have an n-inch bar, from here to here, and you're doing sections. So your machine cut off, machine cut off, machine cut off. So this is going to be hard to see with the transition. But what it does is you have to add these together. So if you have 8 inches bar, and you have eight slugs, 1 inch each, you can't say your length is 1 inch. You have to add them together, and you say it's 8 inches. Even add more just for safety. But let's call it 8 inches. Then your work face. Okay. Your work face over here, that's gonna be how much stock do you remove from face. So let's say you have a 300,000 stock and whatnot. The machine will come that 300,000 before it will get to your 0. On facing, on drilling, on everything. So I always add a little bit extra, just in case, to give me like additional space or clearance. If let's say you make a mistake, you set your 0, not like you made a mistake, at least you have a little space, and then if it comes 300 before the part and it's gonna stop, then it's gonna retract back to, let's say, 40,000, and then it's gonna start cutting. So work face, let's call it 200, and this last one is your maximum RPM. So maximum RPM, and it says max turning spindle RPM. Let me see, I have a problem focusing. Yeah, I'm gonna figure out, see how that focus works. So maximum turning spindle limit depends how big your chuck is. If you have a 15-inch chuck, obviously you're not gonna go 2,000 RPMs. If you're using a callet, then you can go 3,000-4,000. And my first unit that I always go to, if you watch my videos, okay, we have all choices. I always use the end in the beginning, continue, no, because this is not a, let's say, production job. Number, it says part counter, yes or no. If you're doing a few parts, then you don't care about counting. Return position menu. You have 2 choices on the left: tool change position or 0 position. We want to go to tool change. What the tool change position is, so like for example, this drill is my longest tool on the machine right now. Okay, and it's the longest set in the tool library. So what this machine will do, she's gonna take the 0 of the part, okay, it will go up and it's gonna retract to the longest tool plus, additional whatever default is by the machine, before it will rotate the tool and pick another tool to come back and continue machining. So that's all that is. So it's a safety kind of feature. And then it says next workpiece number. Next workpiece number is when you jump from one program to a second program. So for example, you do first sight, or you have you might do a same piece, but you might want to do like different Z positions and whatnot. You can create like a sub program and jump to another program, but we don't care for that. And so now we have our program. So I remember Mazatrol 1. Right away, what I'm gonna do, what I do personally, I go to the position, and this is my old setup page, right? Left key, setup info, work number. Then I pick the program that I just created. So I'm gonna highlight one, press OK. I make sure my number 1 is here. And what I do is turning spindle. I go to jaw data. I do just not mounted. I usually bring the tools myself manually to make sure I'm clearing the jaws, and then set my Z, let's call it 20,000 right now. I'm gonna press teach. The teach is very, very important, because if you're not gonna press the teach, it's gonna put 20,000 over here. That machine is telling you this is what you wanna put in. No, we wanna teach the machine that this is 20,000. My part is at 20,000 right now. I'm gonna press enter, populates the number, hit the left key, position, and I wanna check Z 20,000, program 1. All right, we're all good. So we are ready to program. Now to create a program, right now it just gives you work number, search, program edits, tools and layouts and whatnot. Let's say you press here, you want to do something, you don't have any options, you have to do a program edit. Now that your program edit, it's going to give you all these beautiful options. Okay, so we're at the end right now, it's highlighted. We have to insert the line because the end always has to be at the end. So we're going to go all the way here, press that soft key, last one. Okay. So by the next to calculate, between calculate and erase, we have insert. I'm gonna press the insert. Yes, okay. Now we have additional line over here. Okay, so first unit, it's highlighted. It gives you the options on the bottom. Point, light, line, face, those are mills. All our turning options are here. We wanna turn. What do we wanna do? We wanna face the part first, right? Okay, so we are facing. It says finish Z, finish allowance on Z. How much stock do we want to do finish? You can go anywhere between 3,000 to 5,000. It depends on your case. Now it's asking which it's going to automatically populate some tools. So let's say we have 80 rougher and the second one automatically 80 rougher. But I don't want an 80 rougher. I do want to use a different tool for finishing. I'm gonna press this, and then I can put 35R, or I can go all the way to the bottom, and it says tool data window. Once you press that, you're gonna have a tool data, and it's going to show you only the tools that are capable of doing the task of facing or OD turning or whatever you're programming. So I have, as you see, 80R, 35R, and 55R. I'm gonna pick 35, right? I'm gonna press OK. Once I press the OK, the 35 is here. Okay, and what's the depth of cut? Let's call it 20,000. Okay, now it says surface speed. So it's cutting speed over here. Sorry, not surface, but cutting speed. I'm gonna go with 320. Feed rate, 8,000 M8. 280 to 320 is usually like a safe zone. Feed rate for roughing 8,000 to 12,000 is also good. Depends on the materials. And you're on the bottom, so this was rougher. Now we're using a finishing. Let's go 500 speed and 4,000 feed rate. That's gonna spin a little faster, and the tool's going down a little bit slower. That's gonna give us a nicer finish, and let's call it an M8. Okay, once you press enter, it's gonna populate our first line. On the first line, it's a starting point X. Well, our part is 2 inches. I'm gonna go start 2 inches and 100,000, a little bit above the part. And then starting point Z, well, how much stock do we have on a Z? Let's call it 20,000, right? We touch off the part, and we told the machine this is a 20,000 from 0. So we have 20,000 stock. Final point X, well, where do we want to go? We want to go all the way to the center, so we can cut the whole part. So we're gonna press 0, and then final point Z. And like I said, like all your questions are gonna be here on the bottom. Final point Z, we want to go all the way down to 0. So pretty much once this unit is done, this part where it starts is going to be right at the 0. All right. So now let's do OD turning. Okay, so go over here, right key, insert, press OK. So unit, highlight it, go to turning, same thing. Let's go through all the options. OD turning, it's gonna say bar out. Copy. What copy is, it's something similar to OD turning, but it's gonna be hard for me. But instead of like turning when it goes, let's say from the face throughout the part, this actually copies the shape. And then you have your corners, your facing, which we did, your threading cycle, your grooving cycles. Let me see something if I can. I have to remove the. All right, maybe better. Your threading cycle, your grooving cycle, your drilling cycles, and your tapping cycle. Okay, these are all your options for turning. So now we're gonna go with the bar out, and we'll see which video is gonna come out better, the one with the filter or without filter. So we're gonna go bar out, and now he's gonna ask us a question, cutting point X. Well, we know our part is 2 inches, so let's start cutting from 2 inches. Cutting point Z, where do we want to start cutting from? So we're cutting from 0. F and X and F and Z. Finish on your X and finish on your Z. Let's go 10,000 on X and 3,000 on Z. So once we press enter, okay, it starts to populate again. Your rougher and your finish. Automatically applied some tools. I don't like the 80. Same thing, I can put 35R over here, or I can go here, pick my data again from all the tools that are capable of doing such task. Press OK. And now pattern. Which pattern do you want? This is how the machine's gonna retract. It's gonna cut and go up. It cuts, it retracts a little bit and then goes up, or it goes under an angle. And this number 2, I actually don't know, I never tried it, so I usually go with the 0. Next question. Okay, that is highlighted. And you see, let me see, depth 1. And over here it says max depth of a cut. Let's go 80,000. Okay, so all these there's nothing else to fill out. Then your cutting speeds, your feed rates, and an M8 and all these things, right? So cutting speed, let's go 320. Feeds, 8,000. M code, M8, that's to turn cool and down. And now we're gonna do the same thing for finish. 500, 0.004 for finish, M8. And just to clarify, so I press enter, it takes me to this button, this box. I'm gonna press enter, it's gonna take me to this box. Once I press enter again, that's when it's gonna finally populate the line for me. So as you see, let me see if I can do that for you. Okay, I'm gonna press enter, next box, enter, boom. Okay, now it's next one. So I made a little drawing over here. So on this drawing, so we have a 2-inch part, okay, and it's got a 250 or quarter corner, so 250,000. Now, there's 2 ways to do it. You can do a line, okay, so first choice. So we have line, your tapers, your outer, and then the radiuses. We can do a line, and then it's gonna ask you, start corner. This is that first, do you want a corner or radius? I could say 250,000, right? Press enter, and it's gonna see 250. What if I want a radius? I can do that, but I have to go and I have to press this corner R. So that means this is what I want, and I'm gonna input 250,000 again. I'm gonna press this one. Now it's gonna show you R250. That is gonna round it up to 250,000. But we want 250,000 corner. And then let's say, what do we want to do? Let's call it down to 1. 1 inch and 990, and let's say how far we want to go. We want to go 3 inches, right? So that would be like a very basic line. There's another way too, but sometimes what happens, let's say for example, you have a part, it did the corner, but these edges sometimes are a little bit sharp. There's a way to actually go and round it up. You can throw radiuses into these corners, but you have to change the program a little bit. Instead of a line, we're gonna do a taper. Because taper, you're telling the machine, you're telling the machine not to go straight, but we're gonna taper it. And the taper, you can control the angle as well. You can control it by 45, 30 degrees, whatever you want. This is where the taper is necessary. So if you want to make it simple, 250 corners, perfect. If you have a 30 degree, for example, chamfer, this is not going to work. You'll have to create a taper and actually, and taper is also very nice because it will calculate some dimensions for you, and I'm going to show you that in a second. So I'm going to go do taper. Okay, so instead of line, now we have a taper. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna press this one, and I'm going to do a 10,000 radius as a starting point. Final point X. Let's say, so this is 2 inches. From here to here, we know this is we want 250,000 corner, right? So from here, okay, that'll be 250, but remember the tool always goes to the bottom, so in actually diameter it's 250 times 2 because it's 250 here and 250 here. So the starting point of this would be actually 1.5 inches, but from here to here it's going to be 250,000. So like I said, the reason why it's always double, because when we cut, remember, we only cut up to the center. We never go past the center, right? Because the part is spinning. So final point X, 1.5. Okay, where we starting? Starting point on a Z. We're starting from the beginning. Let's change this to 20. So, and just to make it even number. Okay, and then where we going? So we're going to 2 inches. And how far are we going on a Z? We're going to 250,000. Now asking you final corner. So this is a beginning corner and this is a final corner. Well, let's break it also. Okay, so I did the 10,000. I pressed the radius. I'm gonna hit that enter. Okay, so now it gives me a 10,000 radius. So okay, that's all peachy. So this is actually our radius. So what I will do, I'm gonna press enter. Okay, right hand arrow, insert, and now we have another line. So now I have a line, and I can do 2 inches and 3 inches on a Z, right? My part is done. I have a beautiful chamfer with the nice radiuses, so there's no sharp corners. But for example, what if you're doing, let's say you don't know what your X is. So what you do, you go here, and it's gonna show you Inter PT, okay? So do a question mark, okay? We know it's gonna be a 45 angle. Let me bring my calculator here. So we say, okay, that it's gonna be a 45 angle chamfer. We know that it's gonna be 250,000, okay, long. We know our finishing diameter. We know we're starting from point, but I don't know where it starts. Once you have this question mark, and those three are filled with an angle, okay, you go here. One is gonna say calculate. Okay, I'm gonna press it, and you'll see what's gonna happen. And it's gonna give you calculation. Same thing, and this works really nice. For example, you have a 30 degree that it's calling for. So we all know all these points, but we don't know what's gonna be the starting point X. Do question mark, right? I'm gonna do that right hand soft key. I'm gonna press the calculate, and boom. Now it gives us a different number. So let's say our program is done. We wanna make sure everything runs good. I'm gonna go to the program. I'm gonna go to the toolpath. I'm gonna press part. Once I press the part, it's gonna give me like a nice kind of drawing of it. I can go over here, the little I do scale change. Okay, I'm gonna lower this. I'm gonna press it over here. Right now, it's showing my scale is at 1.71. So let's go 0.8. Enter. Okay. Well, I have to hit part again, and now I have a bigger. Now I have a little bit bigger part. So as you see over here, let's say we want to focus on the chamfer a little bit more. I'm gonna go 0.3. Okay. So this is our chamfer. And let's say you want to have a bigger radius, or you make some changes, whatever it is, right? You go to program edit, for example. The radiuses are a little bit too small. I want radiuses to be much bigger. 30,000. Same thing as I'm gonna change it to 30,000, 60,000. I made a mistake. Go back to 30,000. See, now I do the chamfer. That's what happens when you do it fast sometimes. Now I go back to the program, toolpath, part, and what happens? So the drawing or the trace that I had before disappeared. If you make changes and you want this to remember, you go here and you do store. Once you do store, whatever you're gonna change, and you're gonna bring it, you're gonna come back to the trace or toolpath. It's gonna remain like exactly where you left before, right? So I'm gonna go here to 0.3 part, and now you see the radiuses are much nicer. So this is pretty much basic kind of like how you do it. And now that you have a program, you can go to single block. These are our units, so we have a facing, right, an OD turning. You can just press the memory, make sure this is not highlighted, let it go, and pretty much, and you're gonna start making chips. Now let's see, scale change. Let's go to 3 inches. If you wanna see what your tool does, okay, just go over here on the left side. You do path continue, and the path continue will show you all the approaches, all the cuts, how far it's gonna go, and all these things. If it does it too fast, you can do path and step, and it will take you step by step by step by step, like every single move. And you can follow these numbers, the position numbers, and it's gonna show you exactly what it's doing. If, let's say for example, you don't see the actual position number, you see the machine number, press the right key and just highlight this. And this is what it shows. It says coordinates. If I press it and it's in green, it shows you the position of the part. Alright guys, thank you for watching, and till next time.